All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're pulling out some amazing, real-world advice for entrepreneurs, and this comes straight from a conversation between business leaders in Vietnam. We're going to get into the raw, unfiltered lessons on building a business that actually lasts, and we're going to find out why the most important sale you ever make might only be for 2 dong.
Okay, so let's just jump right in with the big one, right? The question that I think keeps every single founder up at night: how do you balance that huge, world-changing vision you have with the simple, day-to-day reality of just paying the bills? How do you keep the dream alive when you also have to keep gas in the tank?
So that tension, that's really the heart of it. And it brings us right to our first big idea here. This constant battle between just surviving and holding on to that long-term vision.
Think of it like this. You've got these 2 forces pulling you in opposite directions. Over here, you've got your vision. That's the long game, the big investment that, let's be honest, isn't going to pay off tomorrow. But then over on this side, you've got reality. This is what our source calls your sustenance, which is a great way to put it. It's the cash you need today just to keep the lights on.
And this leads to a really blunt question, can your team really live on ideas? I mean, a big vision is awesome. It's inspiring, for sure. But it doesn't buy anyone lunch. At the end of the day, you have to have a real, practical way to bring in money just to keep the whole thing from falling apart.
Okay, so if that day-to-day income is so critical, where do you even start? How do you find it? Well, it all starts with proving your value. And I mean proving it on the smallest possible scale. And that brings us to this amazing concept: real value, or as they call it, 2 dong.
Yeah, you heard that right. Just 2 dong. It's basically nothing. But here's the kicker. The whole argument is that the very second, someone is willing to hand over any money for what you've made, even if it's just a tiny symbolic amount, that is it. That is the single most important moment of validation you will ever have in business.
And let's be super clear about this. This first little transaction, it has nothing to do with making a profit. Zero. It is 100% about proof. It's the concrete sign that someone out there actually wants what you have. It's proof that you're not just, shouting into the void. And man, this next part really nails why this is so important. Think about it. The biggest, scariest failure isn't losing a little money on an idea. No way. The true nightmare scenario is pouring your heart, your soul, all your time and energy into building something, and then finding out that nobody, literally nobody, is willing to pay for it. That is when a business truly dies.
Okay, so you've got your 2 dong. You've got proof. Now what? Well, you need a team to grow, to scale up. And the strategy for doing that in our source material is, well, it's fascinating. It's almost completely backward from what you'd expect. The idea is called training becomes recruitment.
So you know how it usually works, right? The old way is you find someone, you hire them, and then you spend time and money training them. Simple enough. But this idea flips that script completely on its head. The new way is to do the opposite. First, you build an amazing training environment, like a hub for learning in your industry. And then you find your best people, the ones who are already motivated, already learning, from right inside that environment.
And this quote just says it all. You're turning training into recruitment. So think about what that does. All of a sudden, hiring isn't just a cost center on a spreadsheet anymore. It becomes this thing that actually generates value. You're building this whole ecosystem that pulls in talented, motivated people. You're giving them real skills. And, oh, by the way, you get to pick the absolute best of the best for your own team.
But it actually goes a layer deeper than that, and this distinction is so powerful. This isn't just about teaching someone a VEEK, which is like a specific task. Click this button, fill out this form. It's not about the how. It's about building a ngay, a real profession. It's about teaching the why, the core principles, the big picture thinking, so they understand exactly how their work connects to everything else the business is doing.
And that focus on the big picture, on the why, that's the perfect setup for our final and maybe most important idea: what it means to have a true leader's mindset.
So there's this really cool metaphor that keeps coming up in the conversation. It's the mum, which is a Vietnamese word for a big platter of food, like a whole meal set out. And the idea is that a real leader doesn't just focus on making one single dish. A leader thinks about the entire platter, the whole strategic meal that they're bringing to the market.
So what does it actually mean to build your mum, your strategic platter? Well, for starters, it means you have to see the whole ecosystem, not just your own little corner of it. It means, just like we said before, you're teaching your team the why, not just the how.
And it's about seeing how everything connects, how finance talks to marketing, how sales connects to product, so that all your services, all your dishes, actually support each other and make the whole platter stronger.
And that really brings us right back to where we started. So to wrap this all up, I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Take a look at your own business, your own strategic platter. Of all the things you offer, what's your two-dong dish? What's the one thing that has proven real-world value right now? Because that's your starting point. That one little piece of validated value, that's the foundation you're going to build the entire feast on.